Okay,
Right.
so thank you, really thank you for sharing. So at the end, I want to invite you to share uh, your ideas or suggestion to Chinese parents. Like in this, it's a discouraged moment for the whole nation, actually, for China, and because lots of people are dying, and the whole country now become really problem. People could not get out, and lots of corporation may bankrupt because if they have a high rental, payment to need to pay, and no one can consume anything, and kids
Right.
stay at home, they cannot go to school. So
Yeah.
my kids next week, from next week they need to watch to learn online program but at home. And now every day I need to fill up a healthy check form and to the school. So
Hmm.
create lots of problem and uncertain, that kind of fear.
Yeah.
And some people share with me that they become very anxious of
Yeah.
news. Every day they couldn't help to check how many people die and
Right.
all the news. And then some people with me, some friends, they told me that they were stuck by in the village. They cannot go out now. Uh, and their parents, because the parents are senior parents, people, they could not understand what happens still together with people in the village. So so she was so scared. And when her father coughed at night, she couldn't sleep. She
Yeah.
started to think about lots of things, like, oh, if these things happen, what should I do? Oh, if become very sensitive. So
Yeah.
not only the physical healthy problem, now we are afraid of also mentally or
Emotional. Yeah.
emotional. So do you have any
Yeah.
suggestion for us?
Yeah. The first I wanted to say that this is what I do every morning too. Um, I go online and I'm looking at the news from Southeast Asia and everywhere else, and part of it because I love you all. And to me, these are not just the numbers. When um, I saw a few days ago that Guangzhou is now under quarantine and Shenzhen is under quarantine. And to me, these are not just the words. For me, these are all the people that I love. And then it's important to me, it's close to me. The other reason I'm watching it because we're all humans, we do worry. Worrying is okay, worrying keeps us safe. Those people who don't worry, they get in themselves in dangerous ways. So the whole thing is that how much we worry and whether or not we do some other things. Do we worry and do some other things, or we just worry? So it's always a matter of dosage, right? Do we just check on the news every 2 minutes? Or do we check on the news like, okay, let's check at this time and then at this time and then at that time? And that might be a good sense of control as well, because with the whole thing with virus, part of it, the emotional part of it, it's happening and we have no control over it. It's just happening. Something's happening and we have no control over it. And that's, and we just talked about control with parents, right? And that's a whole thing. It's a very universal thing. We want a sense of control because it gives us a sense of safety. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing, right? So we're not getting ourselves in dangerous way, but it's just a matter of dosage. So that whatever family does would be something that would help people to feel a little bit in control, and also train children to have a sense of control, or to create activities that would give a little bit of a taste of control when there's so many things that people cannot have any control over. A couple of things. The one would be to do family meetings. And family meetings on themselves is a very good thing because it's routine, right? It's a ritual. It's something that happens, and it doesn't happen doesn't have to be anything complex. It can be 5-10 minutes. It's like every morning. Okay, let's see what's happening and just go around what's happening in our life today. What are we going to do today? And then especially given the children an ability to lead, even for 5 minutes, this family council, this family meeting would be a good thing in many, many, many different ways. First, that would occupy children, that would give them something to do because they cannot go to school, but that will be almost like a little group, kind of, it's not the school environment, but these are people, and then they'll be able to interact with people versus just interacting with the screen, and would give them a chance to verbalize, so then they can say something, they can speak, and for 5 minutes they can be, in charge. And it's a good thing. It's a time limited, so it will be okay for parents to give 5 minutes of control out, because it's going to be start and a stop thing. The other thing I thought that might be very useful for some families is that to keep a family journal, and almost like write a book. And I would do it an actual, like physical, like have a notebook, so children can draw and can write, and maybe every family member, every family can decide for themselves how they can do it. And some families might decide that everybody write a little bit every day, but it might be kind of difficult, but maybe take in turn and maybe have a schedule. Let's say on Monday, a mom is doing that, and on Tuesday, dad is doing that, and every Wednesday, one of the children, and every Thursday, another child, and then a grandparent do that. And I would date it, and maybe just whatever, like 2%, and even children who cannot write yet, they can draw whatever happened. And I would I would name it something and say, let's write a book. So 5 years from now, 10 years from now, we can read this book and remember together how we overcame, how we survived this time. And that's something that actually can benefit even future generations, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, that they will read the book, they will look at the book. Wow, when mommy was 5 years old, there was this scary coronavirus, and she was a part of that book, so she was writing a book on that. And I think it can be very, very powerful, empowering, and I would not censor it. I would not say, don't write about scary things, don't write about how scary you are. This is your page, and you in total control over that page for this day. You draw whatever you draw, you write whatever you write. This is your page, and this is a book. Wow. And what I would do when the virus is over and the book is done, when you can go to printing shop, that's what I mean, is that I would make copies of this book for each family member. So everybody's got their own copy of that book. And that can be very, very powerful, and can be very, very good. And I would do it actual book, not like computer book, but something very tangible. So then you can do it together. You can create things together. The other thing, even so the routine, the rituals is very, very important with family meetings, with books. I would definitely, in each family environment, whether it's an apartment or home, wherever it is, one of the good things to do is to designate a special corner, a quiet place, because I suspect it might become very noisy when everybody's together and nobody can leave. And for some people, it might be very overwhelming, because some children might become sensory overloaded, and then they might either shut down or they might become very aggressive because of the sensory overload. Imagine you walk into like a discotheque, right? And then your first reaction is what? Like sound, you're going crazy. And then at some point you're not noticing anything. So it might be, and some children are very sensitive because it's a sensory kind of thing. So the sensory overwhelm can be, and I know Chinese people in general, that's my bias, are quite okay with noise because it's loud, but this is a noise where you don't have any control, and it's contained within the same space for a long time, same people. It's a different kind of thing. So what I would do is that I would designate a corner in an apartment as far from kitchen, as far from like a general commotion area is, and designate it, and maybe even have a little like mark for that. So it's a quiet space, it's a special place, and everybody has a right to go there for maybe for 5-10 minutes when they don't want to be bothered, when they don't want to be touched, when they need to be alone. And the signal for everybody would be, the rule would be, I would say, don't stay there more than 15 minutes, so nobody is like sitting there and they don't do anything. I would put a limit on it and say 15 minutes, and saying everybody's got the right for 15 minutes, go there, sit there, and when somebody goes there, they have to be silent because it's a quiet space, and nobody bothers them. Because that would means that they really need a quiet time, and everybody deserves a quiet time, right? And that's just one of the good strategy. I would do art, and I know you probably have a short supply on masks, because this is what I'm reading, but I was thinking this is what I created.
Oh.
And I thought if
So
you have
cute.
even with the simple ones, if you have, I mean, I would hate, but there's still some masks, and maybe some children, maybe they can create, because the mask is a scary thing. If you just take just a blank mask, it like illness, it's hospital, right? I mean, it's scary. It's like, you know, and then you're covering everything, so the whole thing is distorted. So, but sometimes we cannot avoid to do that, right? So, you know, when you travel, when somebody maybe is a little unhealthy, not virus, but something, people are covered. So maybe children can be trusted, and maybe they can do a little bit of art. And then they put, you know, I drew this heart, and I thought it's going to be heart on my nose, and that's going to be that. And it's, oh, what is that? Oh, that's my love is like splashing out, right? And then I did another one with hope.
Oh.
And that's my hope thing, right? And then that's, and some of the things that can be just done is activities with the things that are fear producing, you know, anxiety producing, right? Or if I took just, so this is a glove.
Wow.
And then maybe some children will say, let's do puppet shows. So this is what, where's my happy one? Well, this is my Pirki is my happy one. And this is the scary one. Look at that. Oh, let's talk to that. And maybe do simple puppet show, and then have children do puppet show with some of the things that, and we can do it with any gloves, with anything, but I would take something that, especially for little children, so they don't get terrified for the rest of their life. Whenever they see, you know, the medical glove, whenever they see a mask, so you want to think about future, not to create too many traumatic memories, especially for very little children, 3, 4, 5 years older. And say for any fear, for any mask, there is hope. It's a mask of hope. And this is a mask of love. And then when they see each other, they don't see, and I know I watch the media, and I see sometimes children's thing with Mickey Mouses and everything, but I think, well, you cannot wear Mickey Mouse all the time, and it's like everybody's Mickey Mouse, and then Mickey Mouse never had coronavirus, you know. Mickey Mouse came from a different reality. It's fun, it's great, but do something with the hands, because that's a sense of control. And if kids draw something, if you can spare one mask, because it's still going to be useful. I mean, it's not becoming unuseful. And then they can do something that would fight and win the nasty virus. And then that would give them a sense of control. They can do something about it emotionally, right? Because a lot of times people who are hopeful, having much great immunity. I don't know if you or your people in China, if you know the name of Viktor Frankl. You know, okay. So, and I don't know, I'm not sure if you can access, I don't even know if it's been translated, but the book by Viktor Frankl, I think it's such an important thing. It's called, the book's title is Man's Search for Meaning. And if it is translated, maybe it is translated into Mandarin, I just don't know. But if it is translated, that it can be a wonderful resource, because the book is about, Viktor Frankl was in a Nazi concentration camp. He actually was Adolf's colleague, and he lived in Vienna across the street. He was younger, he was a little bit younger. And when the war started, he got into a concentration camp. And he spent, I think, 3 years in a concentration camp. And the only thing that helped him survive, and he wrote a book after that, about that.
And also a movie, right? I heard about that movie.
There must be, yeah. And that is because he was optimistic. He believed in a future in a place where it was very difficult to believe in any future. And he was seeking meaning in that. He was thinking, what does it mean to me? What is that about me? What is the meaning? So the meaning is very, very important. And the meaning of obstacles, we don't want things. We don't want bad things happen. But when they happen, what does it mean? What does it mean for my family? What does it show about my family? How do we want to remember that later on? Let's write a book about that. Let's write a poem about that. Let's create a song. Let's create a family song about that. And have children maybe write lyrics. And maybe just do a little, I know, orchestra. And you can play with your spoons and you can play with the pots. So you can, because if it's going to be noisy anyway, let's create some rhythm to that. Some predictability, some pattern about that, and let's make it a collective thing, an activity for everybody, not just the one kid who's just constantly making noise and everybody else saying, stop it, be quiet for, right? And that would be some of the things I can see. And I think it's also being honest with children and being honest. And if you don't know, the children saying, when is it going to end? And if you don't know, say, well, I'll tell you honestly, I don't know. Don't try to sugarcoat it. Don't try to make up stories, because sometimes it's a temptation. But don't be afraid to say, I don't know. But also don't be afraid to say, I believe it should happen. And you and I will be okay. And you and I, let's do something good now. Let's make a little snack. And if you feel you need a quiet time, go to that quiet, very special, quiet place. Let's think about what page, how you're going to fill the page in our family book today, right? What you're going to write today. How do we want to remember about that 10 years from now, right? And then and have a very, maybe even little, like very special time, especially when kids go to bed at night. Have a very special talk, and maybe even alternating parents. Like, let's say, if today you go to one of your daughters and your husband goes to another one, then tomorrow you switch. So there's some routine and some special times, because as difficult as it is for us not to have a sense of control, it is even more difficult for children, because at least we have access to information and we have some skills because we lived life. We know how to cope. And for children, they don't know how to cope, but they also don't know how to say that, so they misbehave. They just misbehave. That's how they show their distress. So as much routine, as much as rituals we can create, right? Maybe create a story about nasty virus. Maybe just, just make or do puppet show, or just give the children a sense of control, because the more in control, the healthier they are emotionally, the more, the stronger the immunity, the immune system is going to be.
Okay. Yeah. So I think we have a really comprehensive content of our meeting. Very, we understand Adlerian psychology way of raising kids, and we have a long list of very practical things, suggestion from you. I really appreciate your sharing, because I'm thinking many things you mentioned, I can do it from today on. Thank you. And I think we encourage our audience. We encourage our audience to watch this video and also understand Adlerian psychology way, and also really take action of the least you provide with us. Yeah, I now in my mind I have two book, two notebook. One is blue, one is pink, and I'm thinking to make it one as the book of family meeting to take notes when we had family meeting, and another notebook I will make it become our family journal. Yeah, and I really feel now I feel excited and warm and want to make it become a treasure memories of our whole
Yeah.
family, because me as a professional trainer, actually you know that we have a very tight intensive schedule, so normally I'm very busy of teaching outside home. So actually this month is the longest period of me spending time with my family. Yeah. So my kids actually, they are happy. Oh, finally we can see mom.
Yeah. See, and that's the meaning. You know, so children are very resilient. Children are very resilient. It's amazing how, you know, what I was thinking about the book is that, and I'm still thinking about your daughter's mathematics, and I was just thinking, if we don't censor children, say this is your page today, you write whatever you want, and we don't censor, you can write with mistakes, you can draw. I mean, this like write about today. So that's going to be like a chapter in the book. And I think it can be absolutely, it can become an amazing experience for, let's say, your daughter, because of course, when she does mathematics, she needs to do it right? And if she's either right or wrong, that's a mathematics, right? If it's like 2 by 2, it's 4. It cannot be 5. It cannot be 6, right? So you cannot say, oh, you did such a wonderful job if she was wrong. But in a book, on her page in a book, she will always be right, because that's going to be your page. So it might give really her like a lot of power, because that will be the right page, the right thing, whatever she writes there, whatever she draws, this daughter, another daughter, and everybody else. And when I was thinking, if any family will do that, and I hope, I'm really hoping that this book is not going to be a very big book, because I want this thing to be over, but it will be a book. And when I'll be back to China, and when anybody would want to share this book, because I would love to hear how you all overcoming, how much strength you have, how creative your children are and you are, and how you manage to do it together and collect this memory as a memory, so future generations will learn from the strengths that you showed. That I would love to see these books when I'll be back to China.
Yeah. And because of many years of learning and practice, so actually my family, we are kind of used to the family meeting format. So we already have the whole family meeting of how to set a routine and what we need to pay attention to. What's the step of coming back from outside?
Yep.
A family meeting of all the guidelines. We set up a family special guideline for this period. And we set a routine every morning. We do homework, and afternoon we play iPad. And then during dawn, about 5, 6 o'clock, the whole family will do exercise. We open the TV and dance with the TV program. Yeah, and also we do family like entertainment activities together. And my kids, they check online some short video showing how to make a poutine or different cake, and then we make it together. So I think it's also a very special period, and it really needs courage and to overcome these difficulties. So it's a very complex feeling and moments or periods for all the Chinese, I think. Yeah. So I think we got really a very enriched things sharing, and really thank you, Dr. Marina, again. And I hope this video can benefit to more Chinese parents and to help us overcome the difficulties. And also we understand more clearly about how to help our kids moving forward.
Right.
Okay, so that's today's interview, and I hope I can interview again, because what I talk with you almost 14 minutes, I already feel, wow, I learned so much. I want to learn more and to help myself, my family, and my kids, and also help more Chinese parents. Thank you again.
Absolutely. And thank you for inviting me. And again, I'm thinking about every single one of you. I believe in you. I love you all. I'm very, very hopeful, and I have faith that even though the illness itself, the virus itself, we don't have much control, but we can find a deeper meaning, and we can find ways to overcome and to stay emotionally healthy and to stay together at that. Thank you, Shuli, and we'll talk more later.
Yeah, thank you. And all our audience, if you have question or any topic you want to hear answers, hear sharing from Dr. Marina, you can send us email or just leave your message under our video. Okay, then see you all next time. See you, Dr. Marina.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.